countdown line set by
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, we might have some more people coming at 7 o'clock.
Oh, there you go. Nice one.
Right, if people join us at 7, more the better. So the way this works, because none of you guys have been to Tech Jumpstart before, have you? We have a little panel chat, and then we normally break out into 4 tables, but we're going to break out into 2 really lovely tables of 2 and 3. And then if more people join, they do so. We'll split you guys into 2, and then we'll do 2 questions per table. So got a few bits of housekeeping. So first of all, welcome Becky, Ajna, Tone, and Ellen to Tech Jumpstart. Level bossing it in the gaming industry. So there's a few little things to run through. So we are at the intro stage, and then we'll have this little panel chat and tables until about 7:45, and then a bit of chance for networking and chatting afterwards. The event is being recorded. If you don't wish to be included in photographs or video, please speak to me or one of the guys from Silicon Brighton. And it's a bit late right now because you're on, but do tell us. Grace, did you want to say anything about? We're at Runway East. Our hosts.
Yeah. I'll do it. Go on then.
Runway East, as they always tell us, are on a mission to make work exciting. I think that's their to-do list. And they're amazing. They host us for a bunch of different Silicon Brighton events. We love them to bits. This is the first time that we're here with Tech Jumpstart tonight, which is awesome. They also provide the beer and pizza that you're all drinking. So a massive thanks to them. And if you've got any interest for a company that you might know who are in need of an office or an individual who is in need of some co-working, can't recommend them more highly. They're absolutely fantastic. And then I think if you click that, the next thing it's going to do is going to be me. So can I take that off you? Thanks. Hello, I'm Charlie. Nice to meet you all. I work in events and community engagement for Silicon Brighton. We're the hosts of Brighton and Hove's tech sector. And we support over 30 different tech meetup groups across the city, including Tech Jumpstart, who we love very much. All the events that we run are free to join, available to people at all levels, and they're all hybrid. So famously, hello to everybody who's watching us on the webcast, and hello to all of you who are in the room here as well. All the work that we do is only possible by the help of our amazing supporters who you can see here. If there's a company that you know who might be interested in supporting us that you can't see on that list, please point them in our direction. And a special shout out to our sponsors as well: University of Sussex Business School, Plus Accounting, Octopus Energy, James Chase, and Hyperion Dev. These guys all play a really key pivotal role in the work that we do, and we would be lost without them. We'd also be lost without a small army of meetup organisers and speakers and volunteers and supporters who help us do all of our work. So if you'd be interested in speaking at an event, or helping a meetup organizer run a group, or helping us set up and pack everything up at the beginning and the end of the night, please come have a chat with myself or Grace or Cam or Dan. We would absolutely love to do more with all of you. These are our values. I'll let you read through these whilst I'm nattering on. But the most important thing is that if you feel these aren't being upheld in any of the work that we do, please let us know and bring that to our attention as soon as you can. We are at Silicon Brighton all across the web on all of the different socials. If you're not on our Slack community, I don't know what you're doing with your life. It's the best place to be to stay connected with people and share resources. And stay up to date with different events that we've got going on. We've got loads of stuff coming up through September. We're back to about 2-3 nights a week. Tomorrow we're back here for PHP Sussex, and next week Green Software and Lean Agile Brighton are both on the same night. Green Software is also here, and UX Up Brighton is next week as well. So there's loads of stuff all through now up until Christmas, basically. And if you would like to stay in touch with us and stay up to date with all of the different work we're doing, please scan this QR code or go to Linktree/Silicon Brighton, or you can find it in our Instagram page as well. And that's everything from me, with a door opened at the end and all. There you go. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy it. Back to you, Dan. Cheers. Ciao. There you go.
Thanks, Charlie. Welcome to our 5th guest. How you doing? Good to see you. Also, just a bit about myself. I run an organisation called Tech Native Digital. My name's Dan. The launching soon bit is not Tech Native Digital because we are already here. We run boot camps in tech and various other projects to help people get into tech, including this. What's coming soon is our Tech Finishing School, which is for people who have the technical skills but haven't got the work skills or the work experience to get into work, and we'll provide projects and support with getting your portfolio ready and real life briefs to work on in teams, so you've actually got some real great experience to go to employers with if you're not already in work. So watch out for that. It's coming soon. Have you got the clicker? No. So my panel. Don't want to spend too long on this because I think it's actually even better with a small group that we can all get to chat. But what I usually do is ask my guests about themselves. So that's what I'm going to do. So if you could just tell us one by one, Ellen, if you could start, just tell us just a little bit about what you do and just a little bit about your career route into games.
Okay, so hello everyone, I'm Ellen, nice to meet you. I'm head of production at Us2 Games. Us2 Games don't know if people know Monument Valley. It was quite a big mobile game about 10 years ago. We've just announced Monument Valley 3 coming out in December. So I've been in games for probably just over 10 years. I actually did my university degree was in product design, so very different. Through that, I was working in a company in Brighton and then got into project management, and then moved over into the games industry through a friend that needed a producer. And producers tend to be kind of the name of a project manager within the games industry. So that was at a company called Paper 7. About 10 years ago, there was a Disney studio called BlackRock Studios that closed. And then from that, lots of little games companies formed within Brighton. Which is, I think, probably one of the reasons why Brighton's a bit of a games hub. There's a lot of Boss Aliens, one of them, Studio Gobo, Paper 7, one of them as well. So, and those companies, some didn't last, but a few of them have kind of grown, and then other companies have formed, and then other companies have moved down here. IO Interactive just opened up a studio. I think Mag are here as well. So it's a bit of a games hub here. So I have been at Us2 Games for about a year. Before that, I went on, so I started off in Paper 7, which did mobile games. So we did a Made in Chelsea mobile game for Channel 4. And then we did a PC console game called Blackwood Crossing. So we kind of went over to the PC console market. Then we ended up contracting with a company called Electric Square, who did racing games at the time. And then we kind of contracted with Hangar 13, who were console games, Xbox and PlayStation. After Hangar 13, I went to, so this was all kind of production jobs. And then after Hangar 13, I went and did a little year and a half in a Roblox company, which was really interesting. We should, if anyone wants to ask me questions about that, because that is a very interesting market and a lot of kids. I mean, it's got massive daily active users that rival console users in terms of the amount of people playing those platforms. And then I went to Us2 Games about a year ago as a head of production. So sorry, I'm talking a lot, aren't I? A producer is someone who tends to work across all disciplines. So they sort of work alongside the game director or product owner, whatever you're kind of calling that person who has the vision of the game. And then you are working with programmers, QA, designers, artists, figuring out a roadmap, the priority of when the work gets done, user testing, all of that kind of stuff. So bringing everyone together, making sure everyone's aligned, making sure everyone knows what that vision is, and making sure you're kind of all moving in the right direction and always looking back to what the player wants. So it's a good role to give you that holistic view of what everyone does in games. That's me.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Becky Palmer. I currently work Part-time, I work for Sky Kids and I produce their games for TV, and that's on Sky Q and Sky Glass interactive games. I specialise in producing kids games, and I also run a kids games testing company. So I run a play testing company. I've got a panel of kids which I use, and run that with my business partner. And I got into doing all of these things. So I became a specialist in kids games by accident. So I started off in science communication, and I worked on a series of websites, and ended up at the BBC, where I launched a website for BBC Gardening. I then moved to BBC Science and Nature, where I worked for 5 years. And that's the first time I worked on really interactive content, where we were doing experiments online, which you could do along with a TV show. And then the data behind those would get captured and given to scientists. So you sort of took part in science while you watched TV and joined in. Then moved to CBeebies, and obviously that had a lot of kids gaming. And then for 14 years, I've been freelance, and I do mainly kids stuff, not all. Still like to do some science things. Done some learning stuff. I've done stuff for Bletchley Park. Done all sorts of things, but all the big kids brands, that's basically what I work on. So Barbie, Mutant Ninja Turtles, Morph, Teletubbies, Peppa Pig, Bluey, all of those. And so mainly now how I spend my time is producing kids games for Sky and testing many, many games with kids. So I know a lot about what kids like, and it's a really fun job. There. Oh, you've got your own.
So my name's Tone. I am currently the studio manager for MAG Interactive. We're a mobile games developer and publisher. We're a Swedish company, but we have a studio in Brighton, and my job is kind of the day-to-day of looking after the 20 or so people that work in the Brighton studio, and organizing a bunch of the Swedes helping to make new games for MAG. It's really interesting the parallels between you two. I am also a producer, basically. I started at the BBC working in physical media. Remember that? DVDs and books, things like that. So basically a junior editorial assistant at the BBC doing drama, books, and then decided I wanted to work in games quite early on. We're talking about 2001, and it was so early on in the games industry, relatively speaking. I basically got thrown into a room with 50 people, and I was the producer of a Disney game at Bizarre Creations. There you go. So I had to learn a lot on the job. Ate a lot of pizza, did a lot of late nights. But then we relocated back to Scotland, where I was also continued to work in console for a few years, but then made the switch to mobile pre-smartphones on J2ME, Nokia phones, Sony Ericsson phones. I thought it would be the easiest thing in the world to go from running a 100-person team to running a 6-person team making a mobile phone game. Turns out it's much, much harder because it moves much quicker and there's nowhere to hide. There's no buffer. So spent a chunk of time making Facebook games and mobile phone games before I moved to Outplay in Dundee, who again, mobile games. The biggest game I think that they did was Angry Birds Pop, that I was the producer for, working with Rovio before a stint at Channel 4, and then going back to Outplay, and then joining MAG during the pandemic and relocating everyone to Brighton. So it's similar, I think, in terms of values. I like what you were saying about kind of being the glue, kind of to make the teams move in production. Often I find that being the person who's prepared to put your hand in the fire with a wrong opinion or a challenge or a deadline is enough to get people to get to the right decision. So that's kind of the job I play in a lot of cases. And that's me, I think.
Hi, I'm Ajna. I work at Grandad. We do websites and branding for games companies. So we have done websites for a lot of companies that have been mentioned here, like Studio Gobo, Electric Square, Outplay, Keyword Studios. We've also done websites for games such as like Evil Dead, Aliens, Chrome Valley Customs, BeatStar. And so that's what the company does. I do marketing for the company. So I convince people that they need these websites, which they do. I have been doing it for a bit over a year now. And I basically got straight out of college, met the right people, got my internship. It says intern, but I'm not really an intern anymore. And yeah, I mean, I also am connected to the games industry because my dad is art director of Electric Square, which I swear I'm not a Nepo baby. I got my job myself, but a lot of people know me through that, and I know the games industry very well. I've grown up in it. I've been playtesting games my whole life. I've been in the studio talking to the people, so I know the industry very well. And yeah, I'm just quite excited to talk about like the fact that you can get into the games industry without being a developer. There's like side parts to it, you know, adjacent companies. There's also, you know, the marketing parts, the sales parts. So yeah, that's me. Hi.
Thanks, everyone. So really sort of broad routes that you guys have had, coming to different ways, coming through different routes. I've got a million questions I could ask you. I'm conscious we're going to go to the tables in a minute. I think one of the things that I actually might ask you is, you know, what do you think has been the skill or attribute that has served you best in terms of getting into your career? And we'll maybe feed that back onto the tables when we're looking at what can people do want to get into games.
Oh, yeah, I'm just having a think. I mean, depending on what kind of you want to get, which area you want to get into, I think production very much on the leadership style, being a people, a servant leader. I'd say playing games is really important with games as well. I mean, I don't play loads of games, but making sure you're playing the game that you're making and understanding your audience as well, I think. And just researching the industry, knowing where the industry is going, those kind of being proactive in that sense. Yeah, for me anyway.
Okay, great.
I think probably for me, it's just been, I'm really reliable and I work really hard and I do things on time when I say I will. And I think if you have those qualities, you can go a long way in work, because when you're working on games, you're working in a team and everyone's stuff has all got to come together at the right time. And you can't have weak links where something isn't ready. It does happen because things happen, but to be really consistent is what keeps you in work, I'd say. Yeah. Oh, God.
I think, yeah, communication is key, but communication in a way that allows other people to speak, I guess. We make a big play on being humble at MAG, and I think that goes along. If you get it right, that means that people are open to new ideas and to new challenges and to new ways of working. And I think being able to facilitate that is really important. I also think that games is, like what you were talking about with playing the games. Games is different to software development because of the kind of the hidden layer of fun on top. And there's a kind of, it's almost like an invisible juiciness that you need to be able to tap into and find routes to try and make happen. So that's the trick to making a good game. And I guess that's what someone in production or leadership tries to help to eke out from the teams.
And that's actually what, when I'm play testing games, that's what I'm looking for, is the joy in the game. And we'll make whole videos called Joy to go along with our very long reports about all the things that need fixing, because it's just as important to fix the errors as it is to build on what everyone's really enjoying. And sometimes the joy isn't the thing that everyone thought it was going to be. It's another bit over the side. And you think, oh, hang on, everyone is finding this bit really fun. Let's make more of that. It's not always just checking. It's not QA, it's pleasure and fun.
Yeah, I think I just remembered one other thing, which is what you were talking about being reliable. I think delivery is super critical. Being able to finish things, to get them over the line, is very difficult, but it's also the most important thing. So it's that being a shipper, I think, is so important, especially in mobile. Yeah, exactly.
I think going into the industry without like a degree or anything has shown me how much just like a willingness to learn is like so important. The fact that I've just been learning on the job, I've been doing courses outside of it, making sure you're like fully immersed, you know, really throwing yourself in there. Like when you get an opportunity to do something crazy like this, go ahead, do it. And like we've developed recently, which is a conference in the games industry, if you're not aware. Most people, like everyone looked at me like I was mad when I was like, I'm going to do all of the days and stand on my feet that whole time and talk to everyone, because it's crazy. I was doing all the parties in the evening as well, but like really throwing yourself in there and immersing yourself in the industry, I think is just so important, especially when you're doing things like marketing and you've got to talk about the industry, so you've got to be in it.
Actually, Ajna, you said to me, I hope you don't mind, you saying that your kind of break was meeting someone at a party, and you chatted to them, didn't you? And they were like, well, why don't you come along?
Yeah, so I was at a party from Electric Square, and I just got chatting to this guy, and everyone, so I was towards the end of college for context, and everyone that I'd spoken to before was like, use your gap year to travel and do fun stuff, don't be boring and get an internship. And I was like, so by the time I was talking to this guy, I was actually trying to convince him to not say that. I was trying to convince him to agree with me that doing an internship is a good idea. And somehow in the process managed to convince him to give me an internship at his company. So yeah, that's how I fell into my role.
Well done. Perseverance as well. So one last question for anyone who is wanting to get into games. Can you give us an idea, if you can understand what I mean, of like, what is the life in games like? What is it when you work in games? What's happening? Like, what's a week, month, year like in games? In terms of the working environment, and how does it feel to work in games? What actually happens in the day-to-day and year-to-year in a games company?
That's a interesting one to answer. I think nowadays it's a lot of hybrid or fully remote roles, so it's very different to when I first got into the industry, which was fully in the studio. I never thought it could be a hybrid role, but because of that, it has its own challenges. So when you're fully in the studio all the time, you kind of, especially as a junior getting into the industry, you just absorb so much. And so it's figuring out ways of making sure you can still absorb that from a hybrid environment. I think LinkedIn, there's some really great games people to follow on LinkedIn who advertise. There's some people that, a lot of the recruitment people in the industry advertise all the internship roles, for instance. And there's a few really good voices to follow. I've probably got a list of them on my LinkedIn if anyone wants it. But in terms of kind of, what does it feel like working in games? I think it can be a bit of a roller coaster, because with games, especially on the production side of things, a lot of times it's kind of it's sort of like this, and then everything kind of comes together at the end almost, and then it sort of goes up, and then it's I mean that's probably why in the past you've heard a lot of negative things around crunch and things like that. But the industry has moved a long way from that, and it's much more focused on work-life balance now. So I think those days hopefully are pretty behind us. But you do still have this element of kind of everything kind of all coming in at once, and that kind of everyone all sort of getting involved all at the same time, and it's great. It's a really really positive thing. And then you have the kind of the low points and stuff as well. So it's a little bit of a roller coaster, but it's great. It's a really lovely industry. Everyone's always very friendly in it, I always find.
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think the nice thing about working in games is people are really passionate about what they're doing, and everybody wants to do more than a good job. They really, care about what the end product is like and really want to put a lot of effort into it. And that makes it a very pleasant environment to work in, because it's really fun. You're making people happy. You're giving people, and it's a privilege. People have only got so much spare time, and if they're spending it playing something that you've made, that's really an honor to have that bit of free time. And I mean, day to day, my days are different depending on which one of my projects I'm working on. But I might spend a day playing a game before I take it to testing, write a test script. I have to book all my kids in who are going to do all my tests, and then go around to their houses and film them playing the games. Then I watch it all back very, very slowly and really analyze it, think about it, make suggestions about what I would do. Today, I've spent the day playing a load of existing web games, looking to see if they're appropriate to go on TV. So I've played a lot of games today, but it's mixed. Some days it's lots of meetings. Some days there's no meetings. But it is a team job always. So that's nice. And I work with lots of people that I've worked with for many, many years. And that's fun. It's, working with my friends. It's nice.
I'm going to be a bit of a realist downer about some of this stuff. Now, everything you've said is right, but there's also a lot, especially in mobile, especially as games as a service, there's a large chunk of the job where it's just normal software development. You're updating SDKs, you're doing a UX menu flow, you are looking at graphs, you're working out whether this is the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do. The challenge and the fun is that usually what you're doing is the first time any of you have ever done it. So that's always new and exciting. And you do find yourselves having these conversations that are just completely unlikely when you start talking about whether the behavior of this card turning over is nice enough or slick enough, or what the ceremony should be for this stuff. So you have these amazing times, but there is this level of just mundanity that you've got to get on with as well. And I think sometimes that can be a bit of a shock for people when they turn up and it's like, oh, right, do you mean I have to do 60 screens that are practically identical in the next 3 weeks? And you're like, yes, you do. But everything you're saying is right, and I'm not trying to. And I love working in games, but there is a chunk of grinding work as well.
So as someone who doesn't literally work in a games company, I won't speak on what it's like in the actual companies, but I can speak a bit on what it's like adjacent to the industry. So it's a lot of talking with lots of different clients, understanding what they need, understanding their strategy. Sometimes they come to us thinking they need one thing, in reality they need another. So really understanding their businesses and their audience as well. And a lot of my life is just like really trying to understand the industry, reading a lot of like blogs about it and newsletters and whatnot, so that I can really understand what's going on in the industry and how to talk to the people in it. And whether that is like, through LinkedIn or email or our website or whatever, marketing, no 2 days are the same. It's a different thing every day, but it's a lot of fun doing it for the games industry.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone. I'm still thinking Made in Chelsea game. What on earth is going to be in that?
I think it might still be available. It was good.
I'm going to look it up. thank you guys. Really interesting, sort of rich information about your experience, your lived experience in games, and your route in. Loads of things to talk about. So, as is traditional with Tech Jumpstart, we now move into tables. So I think we can move into two tables. So what we got? Nine people. So yeah, if we split into two groups, we'll have two tables. Let me get my clicker. So what we want you guys to answer with the help of our panelists is to help you think through careers in games. I don't know where you guys are at in your career with everyone, or what you know where you're trying to get to, but hopefully between these 4 questions, this can give you a really good idea. I know we've got some guys from the education sector here as well, and some people already who work in games. So yeah, just a chance to have a really good conversation with the panel. So on each table, there's going to be a bit of paper, or you can use 2. Can someone please be a scribe and write down? And what we usually do is everyone just scribbles down stuff. So I used to run a college, right? So this is like classic workshop stuff. So everyone writes down, just someone write down your answers. And at the end, we have like a really great kind of collage of ideas and things. We take pictures of them and post them on the group, basically, so that everyone's got something to sort of look back on. So the 4 questions are: what are the different career jobs or career routes in games? What sort of skills or background will best prepare me for a career in games? What can I do now to get started in my career journey? And what does the future look like in the games industry? So we'll do 10 minutes per question. Well, I suppose we've got 20 minutes per table. And then I will, after 10, I'll say 10. After 20, we want everyone to swap round tables, okay? So you move on to the other table. So Ellen and Becky, if you can take one table. Tone and Ajna, if you can take the other one. One of the tables is going to be on camera. So if you don't want to be on camera, you don't have to join me in that. Don't go to that table. If you are, please use the mic and speak into it. And then these do get watched. They go up on YouTube afterwards. They do get lots of views. They're really good for students and everything else to look about careers. So be great if you could, we'll move into tables. Grace, how we're gonna use these 2? We're gonna move them out. Okay, right. We'll just take 5 minutes just to move stuff around. So if you can split into 2 equally formed groups, that'd be great.
right, doesn't it? So
Have we been assigned 2 questions?
I think we have
think
to
we
answer
do the first
all of
two.
them. No, I think we have to answer.
No, because then we're going to swap and then we'll do the second two.
Nope. We have to answer them all, and then you get another viewpoint from the other table. Yes.
It's changed since we split into 2 groups.
Oh, is that? No, that's how. I'm pretty sure.
Originally, it was going to be like you swap each question.
Oh, yeah. No, I think we do them all. All right. Let's just.
Better to do them all.
Yeah. Let's just dive in. So I'm hogging the microphone. What do you want to do?
What are the different jobs or career routes? I can think of 2. Obviously, product designer, a designer. I don't know if a business analyst is also going to be part of it. It could be. What about data analyst? Possibly. Okay. QA tester. Product designer. Design. QA tester. Design. Data analyst. Business analyst.
Well, in my area,
That kind of thing, right? Project manager. Yeah, I know, right? Project manager can also be product manager, possibly, or can it be different in different companies?
It varies depending on the size of the company.
Yeah.
If they have a producer,
Yeah.
producer is product and project.
Okay.
If it's a big team, you'll tend to be scrum masters or project managers and a product manager who looks after the quality of it and of the delivery.
Okay. So we'll just say producer then.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see.
Do you want to pass it around so you haven't got all the pressure on you?
The only one I know about is the actual software developing side of it, because that's.
Yeah, so like
Oh yeah.
Programming or coding or development, whatever you want to call it.
I've only just applied to do a coding course at uni starting this month, so in software design, obviously. So that's the only one I'm actually properly aware of. I don't really know about the other parts of a company or the industry that you interact with doing that.
I mean, in terms of the game making, there's only one thing that's kind of missing.
3D animator.
Yeah, or just the art.
the art.
The art in general. Yeah.
Just put an artist.
Yeah, so that could be 3D, it could be animation, it could be 2D, it could be UI, it could be effects or tech art. Yeah, all those.
What about user researcher? User researcher. Because you need to, it's not like part of the whole test, like to see people's feedback based on the game when they tested the play test.
Yes, it varies from company to company. For us, oh yeah, sorry. Well, you can be microphone police. For us, it's that's usually no. We do have a UX person whose job it is to get this and collate it and translate that in. So, and often you will see, it's called UX. It's user experience, yeah, and that involves just looking at best practice of how to do things and also getting player data or user data.
Should I have a... So also just to mention, obviously as a marketing person, I'm going to say this, it's a business. It has business things. It has legal, it has finance, it has marketing, it has sales. And so it's not all just the actual making the game. Yeah.
No, but you're absolutely right. You know, this is something that often game teams game teams sometimes struggle to have the balance. You know, it's kind of like, well, if we make a good game, then people will turn up and play it. It's like Field of Dreams. It's not like Field of Dreams. It has to work in synergy with marketing and the business side.
Marketing, sales.
Yeah.
Marketing and sales.
Yeah, design and writing.
Yeah.
Writing, yeah.
You often get narrative design or yeah.
So if we want to be a product designer, for one to be a product designer, do you need to be really good at storytelling? Because that's where I am in terms of I'm trying to get into product design, and the three areas I'm into are gaming, automobiles, and health and fitness. So,
So storytelling will help because if you're designing a game has a story, of course, but there are also elements of understanding the audience and audience research, because you can create a beautiful game with an amazing story, but if nobody cares about that genre or whatever, then you're not going to have people playing it. So I think there are also those sort of businessy elements. I don't know if you would agree.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think product design. When you said product design, to me, for the type of games we make, I imagined like a high-level pitch and then some kind of visualizations of what we want the player to go through and what the core loop of the player playing the game is. Yeah, exactly. But that is often generated in collaboration. I mean, it depends. It varies so hugely. This is the issue with games. It varies so much. That can be generated with the team, or it can be created and given to the team to make. And I think that will vary hugely. Often, in my experience, it's with the team, so that they all understand and they buy into it. So that then there's a job there keeping people on brief about what's going on, but also without being too prescriptive about what they want to happen, because you need to allow for happy accidents along the way, really.
How many jobs?
I think we've covered most of it. Do you want to go on to the next question?
Yeah.
what sort of skills or background will best prepare me for a career in games?
It's again, we're looking at everything here. It's hard. I think if we're looking at the stuff that's kind of outside of these specific roles, I think you're looking at ability to work well in a team. Should I be answering this? I guess I should. Yeah, teamwork. What else? Collaboration well. Problem solving. Yeah.
That's a cliche.
Yeah. Being comfortable with failure, I think.
Yeah, it's a very fast-paced industry, so yeah, changing.
Yeah.
Maybe your idea isn't like maybe the best. Like you need to be comfortable with changes, especially if your idea isn't the best idea. You need to accept, like, okay, someone has to pitch in a new idea, and you have to use that idea. Which other one? I think, yeah, being analytical, also working under pressure. Because
Unique to games. That's in terms of skills, in terms of like, I don't know, normal software development.
Can I ask, because we know from you two, what like sort of department are you two looking at going into? Just so that I can tailor the answer.
Well, I'm a designer, but not in games at the moment, so that's the area I'm interested in.
I used to be a product manager, but I'm trying to get back into product management.
So yeah, I mean, designer we sort of touched on. Project management as well is just like a lot of managing people. But I think one thing I would say is like, if you can find people on places like LinkedIn that are doing similar roles to what you want to go into, I think it's quite a good idea, if obviously they have time to answer you and stuff, to just be like, hey, what like tools do you use and what technology do you use, so that you know that you're like using the right platforms, because maybe your university will teach you the completely wrong platform and then it's useless, you know. So it's good to make sure you're using the correct platforms and technology.
I think that's valid. Back to you. You asked what's different. What is different between? Thanks for holding that. It means I can use my hands. Games to other software. I think it's what we a couple of us touched on. It's that kind of juicy layer of joy and fun, which is very hard to design, and and you kind of need to get in there. You can create, and I've done it myself lots of times, create a game which is ticking all the requirement boxes. It looks good, but it's not any fun. And that's really hard to find. That's where the teamwork, the enthusiasm, the curiosity really starts to make these things come alive. Otherwise, you end up with something very functional, but it may not be what you wanted.
Yeah, like making sure it's not like got an impossible boss battle in the middle that's gonna like, you know, stress people out and make them leave. You know, it's things like that that are unique to the games industry. And just like, yeah, the fact that people are going to be doing this in their free time, they, you know, the last thing they want is it to be frustrating or make no sense. So,
What other skills or background stuff? Humility is very important, I think.
What about, I know this might be a bit. What about qualifications, maybe certificates, trainings? Would that also be like a good background as well?
It depends. Honestly, I think I've seen so many people with. Sorry, yeah. When we're looking to hire somebody, if there are, and this sounds, I don't know how right it sounds, but kind of fit and being able to work well with the team is so much more valuable than qualifications. If you gel well with the people you're working with, then you can get so much more done that way, because then people can pick up each other's weaknesses and enhance each other's strengths. So, and that's kind of talk about skills. Game jams, I think this is kind of on the next question. What can I do now to get started? Global game jam or local game jams are really good because you learn how to work. You learn how to kind of to flesh out a very fast product design. You learn how to take code shortcuts. You learn how to find some fun in a game design and how to deliver something quickly. So they can be very, very valuable. And even if it isn't very good, if you've shipped something or completed something at the end, that goes an awful long way. I think being able to show that you can complete a project, being a finisher, is very important.
So you mentioned that the skills are not as important as the person being able to work with the team well. How do you measure? How do you work that out without necessarily not passing a judgment? Yeah.
First of all, when we interview somebody for a role, first of all, we anonymize everything. So we're just looking at the skills on paper and experience on paper. So we remove any names or gender or age or anything from that. And then once we've started having these conversations, it's about time. We have relatively small teams of about 6 to 10 people working on our games. So if someone new is going to join, we need to be confident they're not going to upset the group. So our interview process is 6 or 7 interviews, maybe with a test in there as well, and a variety of conversations around the topic. If you deliver a test and it's kind of what we like, it's within the right area, that's good enough. But if as we talk to you, we start to learn what makes you tick, how well you're going to get on with the other designers or the other programmers, how well you are open to criticism sounds harsh, but feedback or questions. I mean, we're all very, very nice, but it's kind of like if you do a code test and and the other coder is going, "Oh, why'd you do it like that? I wouldn't have done it like this. You could have done it in a different way," and you start to get defensive about it rather than curious about it. Then that could be a clue for the future. So it's time whilst removing any potential I don't know what the word is, kind of signifiers or prejudices that might stop you getting into that interview situation.
I actually asked that question because I'm also interviewing at the moment. I just finished my master's and trying to understand. I remember my friend telling me sometimes the interviewers would gel with the person. Sometimes it's not about the skill; they just feel the vibe, and then so it's like, okay, so what's the vibe? What's the vibe like? Thanks for that.
It sounds really unprofessional, but that personal dynamic is so important. So as long as you, on paper, look capable, and then if you do get a good vibe going and you feel like you're clicking with the people that you're working with, then that's really important. Because otherwise, if you get hired and you're not clicking, you're probably going to leave in about a year, and nobody wants to go through all of that expense and cost and stress. If someone joins MAG, I want them to be a MAG for 5 years plus and have a great experience. So it's not to anyone's benefit to hire somebody who's brilliant but hard to work with, you know?
So, sorry, regarding how to start, right? So, because there's this new trend, especially for people who are new to maybe whatever career path in gaming, it's almost like even entry level, you have to have some level of experience, like you see, like minimum of 2 years, 3 years. But then you have an example. I'm an international student. Well, just like him, we went to the same uni. We just graduated like earlier, and we have limited time in the country. But then, where are we going to get the 2 years experience? You know, like why? Like, what is this new trend for entry level? Not even like mid, senior, or associate. So, like, what would you say about that? You know.
One thing I would say is if you're looking at a job description and you 100% believe you can do it, and the only thing stopping you is that it says you need 2 years of experience, go for it. Because like the hiring process might just go well for you. They might just not care. A lot of the time they feel like they need to say things like that. Or it's someone in talent acquisition that's saying that when maybe it's not completely accurate to what the director of that department wants. But I also would say doing things like side projects and building up a portfolio and just doing like, I don't know, just making a game with your mates or whatever. And like things that you would have done at uni, I presume, would also go into that. So I wouldn't let that hold you back. I know it isn't great that they're doing it, but don't get scared off because of it.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I mean, often when we have a position open, we don't check the requirements too much, but it does get reviewed by the people that we'll be working with. So feel free to apply. I guess a lot of this kind of experience requirement comes from fear of risk. You know, it's a risk thing because we may only be hiring 1 or 2 people this year, and you want to make sure you can get the best people for the right money. So if it's a way of trying to filter out, especially in games, if it filters out people who are just applying for anything. We sometimes get that. If you don't put any requirements on a job, then you just get people who have been told by the job center to just apply for jobs, and that just takes time and effort to get rid of. So, but generally, if you think you're a good fit for the role and you haven't got the experience, just apply anyway. Is it a good project? Is it in the correct area for what the company is looking for and will excite them regarding your application? If it's not, then they'll probably just discard it.
Guys, we have like 1 minute and then we're going to move tables. Okay.
What?
To get started in my career journey.
You don't have to answer all 4.
Yeah. Oh, I thought we did have to do all 4. Did the rules change? That was me. I was wrong. Sorry. Okay.
You know what? It's all,
Let's carry on with this 2 then.
it's all good to do.
What do we? Oh,
What can I do to get started in my career now?
game jams.
Okay. Game jam.
Game jams.
Communities.
Yeah. Look up Global Game Jam and look for local game jams.
You're going to now go to that table.
All right. Cool. And then we're doing the last 2 questions with.
Yeah. The last 2 questions. Yeah. So they've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've done almost everything for them.
Exactly.
You guys take your paper.
Hey, you take.
Yeah, take it with you, and then I'll get them to take it. This
Yeah.
is yours.
Alright.
And then no cheap play.
Yeah, that pen matches your hoodie. You need to take it.
I'm stealing this. It's mine.
Doing all right. Getting there. You're just used to. Hello.
Coming over.
Did you do the top 2 questions in your group?
We did, yeah, we did top 10.
Okay, good.
Well, they're supposed to.
Oh, it's fine. It's all right. You're coming back. That's all right. Yeah.
We're back.
Oh, you're
Cool.
back, okay.
That's all right. Good.
Oh, that's cheating. You guys know the answer.
No, we haven't done these ones yet.
The camera is facing. Oh. Just want to be famous today.
Fine.
Fair enough. Do you do autographs?
All right. What can I do now to get started in my career journey in games?
I'll write that down. You know, I'm just gonna write the. What's the one?
You do that one, I'll do the bottom one.
Oh, okay. You shoot it.
Just prepping up. Efficient.
What was the answer to getting started? Game jams. Exactly.
Is it just game jams?
Sorry?
Are there any other communities in gaming as well that you have?
More than I do.
Tell them about game jams.
I'm not a game jam expert, but we have some passionate game jammers in MAG, and basically they are little gatherings or collectives where you get set a keyword or an inspirational phrase or something, and you have a set amount of time to make a game, 48 hours, usually over the weekend, and people pre-organize into teams, or they can just create teams on the day, I think, and just get stuck in. And it teaches you, helps to teach you about the chaos of trying to make something fun quickly. You get to design, you get to come up with an idea, you get to take shortcuts, and you get to ship something. And then you learn an awful lot very, very quickly. And I think companies tend to like people who take part in jams because of the qualities that it helps to polish, all the collaboration and the working to a deadline and the delivery and being. I'd far rather, for example, Yeah, similar, yeah, stuff like that. I'd far rather hire somebody that's done lots of game jams and done lots of short games in a period of time than an equal person who has spent 6 years noodling on the perfect game on their own, because these people work in a team and ship with energy. This guy is a perfectionist who spends ages working on stuff. So you can.
Just a demonstration of drive and time management.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're saying that learn on your own thing is a no.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay.
Fine to do your own. Is that what you're doing? Have you been working on your own thing in your bedroom?
Yeah, kinda. Yeah. No, but I attend some coding events around.
As well, right? I think it's not an either or. It was just an example for the sake of conversation. So
I feel like I should write down self-directed study on here as well. I think that's,
I did a bootcamp training. I regret it, but I learned things from it. It was in product design, and the part I regret was actually with the team, because I was grouped with the worst group of people can ever have. They don't communicate in the group chat. You arrange meetings, and there were times because how active I was, they made me the project lead. But whenever I organized meetings, there were times I was the only one in attendance. I couldn't. But even though I complained, there was nothing that could be done, because you're just stuck with these people. So in the end, the sad thing is we weren't able to deliver on the deadline because those who were meant to do their parts weren't doing. I ended up doing 3 roles. I was the designer plus the person trying to do the research, and also it was time, but I couldn't do enough, and we had to accept the reality that we couldn't meet up with the deadline. But in terms of self-directed study, I've decided to redo the projects myself instead of with them. So it could, I can see where you could and be a bit of both. Yeah. So yeah, it is, but sometimes teamwork, oh my God, it gets the worst out of you sometimes. So, but anyways, I think it's just whichever situation you find yourself in, is just to get the best out of it. And whatever you learn is just see if you can also practice on your own and how you can build up. So, but I love working in teams, don't get me wrong.
I think one thing with the games industry is a lot of people feel like you need to know people in it to get into it. And obviously, if you don't already know people that are in it, then what do you do? So I think attending events, attending things like Develop Brighton, the conference, or checking for local Facebook groups. There's the games industry drinks that happen once a month, attending things like that. And also just being oh, I really love this game. I'm an artist and I really love this game because it has really cool art. Let me see if by any chance I can reach out to the people doing the art and be like, hey, I think you're really cool. Connect on LinkedIn. When you see them posting, commenting, interacting with their posts, then your name will stick in their heads, and then you're building those networks and connections without having to be born into it.
I mean, with that, I'm a complete noob to the industry. Is there kind of where you really kind of need to choose a niche or something? Because obviously there's quite a wide thing with gaming, like mobile gaming or console gaming or PC gaming. You have to choose a niche or a type of game or anything to get into it and pursue that, or can you be a generalist? Is that a thing? I'm a career changer. So I'm off Dan's boot camp. I was something else. So, it's software development, but kind of web, fairly generic JavaScript at the moment. But I'm not even sure if I'm not at the wrong place, but I'm exposing myself. So I'm not even sure if I'm myself. I'm going to go into gaming. I'm not a gamer, but I'm just here to expose. But curiosity, is it something where you've got to kind of choose a niche and go into it? Or I'm into the Steam stuff, or I'm into the mainstream console stuff, and therefore I have to go down that route. Or can you go in as a generalist?
I think it depends. Is the annoying answer, right? So if you're good at, and I guess this is why the game jams are interesting, because if you're good at the main tools that the studios use, you may find yourself getting really into Unreal or Unity. There's a lot of Unity studios. If you know how to do stuff in Unity, then that gives you a lot of flexibility to do lots of different things with a studio. The jams, you might find yourself enjoying some of the lower level tech work or the gameplay work or the animations or the fun, and that might help to give you a hook into what you're interested or passionate about. Now, if you're looking at an entry level position in a company, we'll want generalists, but we'll also we talk about T-shaped developers. So you kind of general across a lot of things, but you've got an interest in a certain area. So if you can present yourself as T-shaped, then that's really attractive. So that's kind of what I would. Yeah, that's how we try and develop our employees as well into T-shapes, because you don't want everybody being right into effects and tech art. You need a spread of people that just love updating SDKs. they like the work without it kind of using all of their imagination. So yeah, it's varied. Yeah, but as you get more experience, I guess you'll see kind of what you enjoy.
About 7 minutes left.
Oh, we're going to try to do that.
Okay.
So, what does the future look like in games?
I have a question regarding that.
Okay.
What is the future of like 2-dimension? Is it hyper casual games or what do you call them? Is it because even on Google Play, you don't see much of them anymore. More games are looking more 3D than 2-dimensional.
Yeah, it varies. I think the future for games looks good. It's a really booming, well, maybe not booming this year, but it's really a growing industry. I think it's changing. There's a lot of AI anxiety in some studios, but I don't think that's going to reduce the amount of jobs. I think it's going to change the jobs that people do. So programmers, for example, may find themselves doing more architectural direction and then using ChatGPT or Copilot or another tool to write the code for them, so that they're kind of thinking more structurally.
In those terms, you're going to need like, I don't know, AI plumbers, so to speak, so the people that maintain the AI or the reams of hardware that the AI is going to, there's still going to be jobs, but they're going to transfer kind of further down.
Go up, or they'll go up a layer, or they'll go more into the actual service provision of the AI stuff. And we see that with the artists as well. This time last year, I would say most of the artists in MAG were very nervous about what's going to happen, whether it's for screens or layouts or diagrams or whatever. Now we can see that we can use AI, but it's great for fast concepting. Then you're going to need an artist to spec out what you want. Then you can generate something using a tool. Then it's going to take an artist to clean it up. Then you might be able to animate it using AI. Then you're going to have an artist to clean it up. So it's a different way of working.
So it's AI human interdependency kind of.
I think so. I think that's how it's going to go.
Just for everyone to just, in my opinion, I think the acceptance of AI will make things better instead of the resistance towards AI. Because I mean, who doesn't want their work to be easier, faster? So
it'll make it harder though, because there'll be so much more content. Everything's going to be so broad. In the time it might take us to make, it maybe take 2 or 3 years' time, and the time it might take us to make one game, we could make 5 games, all with different themes and skins, but with the same core.
you have a long break after.
No, because everyone else will be making 5 games or 10 games, and then that puts more emphasis on marketing to find the audience.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, we're seeing people who are specializing in being an AI speaker, which means that they like are good at talking to the AI and like communicating with it and getting it to do what they want. Yeah, but I mean, people have different terms for it, but I've like within the games industry, I've heard people use that term. Yeah, but yeah, so I don't think that it's gonna like take people's jobs. I think a lot of people have thought that at several stages of technology like evolving, but I don't think it's a big threat. And I would say in general for like the future of the games industry, like I think things look bad now because everything did so well in COVID, and now it's kind of resetting back to like not COVID. And so it looks bad, but if you kind of compare it to like pre-COVID, like it is actually growing, like as a whole.
I think it's very healthy. I think there's an explosion of content and different games coming, 2D and 3D. You know, it depends what you know. If you look at Google Play, it depends what you play and what you're interested in. You're getting algorithms, more 3D stuff because maybe that's where you're interested.
Not 2D for me now because I like games when I'm bored.
Yeah.
I like games when I'm bored. Oh Jesus Christ. They're easy, but I'm not looking for like very easy. But like when I'm bored, I don't want to be extremely cracking my brain, waiting, playing while I'm waiting for something. I want something like, oh my god, I just finished level 1, oh level 2, and then. So I like them. The three-dimensional ones. I feel like they're more of like a distraction for me because once I start playing, I get too addicted. Then I forget I have things to do because someone is killing my dragon or something like that. So, so I just, yeah.
So, in the future of the gaming industry, which niche do you feel is more promising? Because sometimes when I chat with my friends all over the world, this whole thing of playing games together, and FIFA, for instance, on your PlayStation, esports is also. So, what niche would you think? Do you think is more promising at the moment?
So mobile's my priority because everyone has a mobile phone, and they're free to play. So it's easy to get it out there, but that comes with its own fight in terms of getting it in front of the audience because everybody else is releasing free to play mobile games. I don't know because console is huge. I'm not in the console world. I don't really know, but you can see that a big AAA console game will take. GTA 6 is out next year, something like that. That's been 12 years in the making. 2,000 people making it. It's a huge effort, and it's going to have a lifespan of 15, 20 years after its release with the same amount of people doing it. So that's a big deal as well.
Transfer some of the console games onto mobile, for instance. Mobile is a bit more accessible. So, for instance, someone like me, 10-year-old daughter, wouldn't buy her a console. However, like Minecraft Pocket Edition on a tablet, accessible, affordable, because the tablets are multi-purpose thing. So is that maybe something that?
Yeah, quite possibly. You're seeing blurring of that as well, where you can stream a console or a PC game onto your phone. So you're actually using the phone's hardware. You're just using the internet to stream it being played somewhere else onto that. So it's all gonna break down basically, but I don't know how.
I think another thing we're seeing as well is blurring the lines between TV, film, and games. So a lot of films based on games, games based on films. And I think we're going to see that more and more. And a lot of companies that aren't necessarily games companies are starting to move into games as like a marketing strategy or just like another part of their business. So I think we're going to see more companies like Netflix and, things that do similar stuff to that starting to make games as well. Exactly, yeah. So I think that's a trend that we're starting to see.
question before. So when you develop games, do you actually have all the documentations, the storyline full, or do you do coming soon? Because I take a long time to play, but I can imagine having.
Bit of both. We'll know what we're trying to do, and then yeah, and then if something exciting happens, then we'll run with it. No. Well, our stuff's a bit more puzzly, but yeah, yeah.
I think it depends on what the main selling point's going to be. It might be a gameplay loop, and it doesn't really matter what happens around.
Am I on this one? Yeah. Boop, boop, boop. Right, grab a seat, everyone. Did you do this one? Was that your one?
I don't know. Yes.
Who's got the other page? Oh, it's over here. Do you want to take that one? Right, we're just going to do a tiny bit of feedback. Give Ellen 1 minute. Oh, she can join us.
Yeah, we can see the other end.
Yeah.
We do that.
I heard some brilliant conversations going on. There's some really rich conversations about careers, what's going on in the industry, some of the challenges in the industry at the moment, where it's heading, best way to get involved, about game jams, about all sorts of different stuff, teamwork and skills and those kind of stuff. So it would be great just to just grab a seat, and be great just to get your kind of like top 2 takeaways each. We've got about 5 minutes. Just sort of sum up what you heard and sort of what was your key takeaway from the discussions?
Oh, it's put me on the spot now. Key takeaways. I think it's really because obviously I got into the industry almost over 10 years ago. The industry was very different then. It's very saturated now and it's very competitive. But at the same time, there's a lot more variety of jobs as well. And there's a lot more companies. So the industry is definitely growing. I think the way you make games is changing as well. It's we need to kind of think about how to do shorter game development cycles for slightly cheaper to get it, because there's just so many games out there, and it's just games can kind of get lost. So it's how you react to your audience and stuff as well. But yeah, I think there's a lot of ways of kind of networking and kind of getting yourself out there. Yeah, kind of answered the question. Yeah. Oh, you got one. You got that one.
Yeah, I think, let me just remind myself what we talked about. I think we talked about definitely people who've done internships have got somewhere. And we talked about trying to make your network really wide. Thinking about what you can do, including things like having a go, publishing something, going to game jams, thinking about LinkedIn more. Because even if you're not up on that, that's what the people hiring, and that's where we're all looking. And that's where we're all looking all the time to see what's happening. So following the right people on LinkedIn, Ellen's got a list that she can share. And, the future maybe isn't that rosy right now, but we're all hopeful that the worst is past, and you only need one job, right? Doesn't matter about all the others. You've only got you to worry about, and you just need one job. So you just got to make sure you're the best person to get it.
The thing that stands out for me most is I think we had quite a good conversation, or maybe you just listened to me talking about fit and why, when you apply for a role, are there often so many conversations with different people in the team and tests and that sort of stuff. And I think the point of that is that it's often you're looking for someone to come in, and certainly in the types of games that I make, you're looking for someone to come in and complement a small team. And it's really important that that person fits in with that team and has the skills. So we spoke about being T-shaped, so trying to be a generalist, but maybe have some enthusiasm that you can show, and also maintaining that kind of curiosity and humility when you're speaking to companies to show that you are going to be a good hire. We kind of spoke about if you are hired for the wrong role in a company, it may be great that you've got this job, but you're probably going to end up leaving in a year or so, and nobody wants that. We want you to find the right place in the right company, and that's why it's important to be able to demonstrate your skills, and also to make sure that it's a fit for what they're looking for. Oh, wow.
Yeah, so just getting yourself out there, attending events, talking to people. Don't be scared of LinkedIn. You don't need to post that you got engaged and that means that you have more sales or anything cringe like that. Like, you can actually use it as a tool. And like building your portfolio, actually doing stuff, working in teams, doing things like game jams, posting your work that you do, just getting out there and actually doing stuff, as opposed to just like sitting in your room and just studying like a textbook. That's not going to help. Like, getting out there and actually doing stuff and using the right tools that are actually used in the industry. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you, guys. There was one thing that actually caught my ear that Tone said, that you'd rather hire someone who had done 10 really quick games at a game jam than someone who had spent 6 months trying to perfect the perfect game on their own. Because what you're looking for is that energy and collaboration.
Yeah, finishers are really valuable. There's a massive, sorry, that was a massive exaggeration for effect, but finishers are really valuable. It's not hard to find people that can do good work for a long time, but finding someone that's prepared to get something over the line is like gold. So that's really valuable.
Thank you. Great advice. So thank you, guys. We're coming to the end now, and thank you for everyone here for taking part and being really good group, sitting around the table and having such good conversations. So Ellen, Becky, Tone, and Ajna, thank you so much. And a round of applause for our panelists, please. And can I just thank the Silicon Brighton guys, as ever, Grace and Charlie. Thank you. They provide, and Runways for providing the space. These guys make it all happen, make it all work, do all the AV and everything else. So thank you to them. And they provide drink and pizza, which is a good thing. So thank you, everyone. The next one, Charlie, we've got the date. Keep talking. There's another one in about 2 months' time on a day that's going to be a similar day. It's going to be Tuesday. We'll get the date for you. We'll post that out to everyone. There you go, November the 19th, and it's going to be here, isn't it? Yeah. So we don't know the theme yet, but we're happy to take requests if anyone wants us to focus on something. It's every time we focus on a different area of tech. So yeah, we'll have a think about that. We'll let everyone know. And yeah, thank you. Have a good journey home, and we'll see you all in a couple of months. Thanks, guys.